she spends half of the year in China. Really random, but that's how it is. We have Tugba back this year. I love her form, I love her enthusiasm, her smile. Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode. This one is not for everybody, but if you're a bit like me, a bit nerdy about volleyball and you really want to know which players play in each club and why and what is their position and what we can expect from them, well, I've done some research and I would like to talk about especially the Istanbul Big Four, so the four main teams in the Turkish Women Volleyball League, but also some minor clubs and some international players, what we can expect this season. Let's get to the juice of it and let's look at the first club I would like to analyze, and that is Vakifbank. Why am I starting out with Vakifbank? They are the most successful club in recent years. There's no denying that. I think they deserve our respect and we should start with them. Something that jumps to the eye immediately is the absence of Paola Egonu. She has joined the club in Milan, but who did they get in exchange for Paola Egonu, Nika Dalderov and Karabajeva? Well, they got three brand new outside hitters, Ali Frenti of the United States, Bianca Busha and Idilnaz Bashjan. Now, Ali Frenti is an incredible competitor and I really think she fits the mindset of Vakifbank. If you see her play with the USA national team, you will see the fire in her eyes. She's a good server and she's a good spiker. Now, Bianca Busha from Serbia, she is a very solid outside hitter. Good defense, good attack. And Idilnaz Bashjan was playing in Aydin last year. These big clubs, they have to find some players that are willing to stay on the bench. So if I had to pick one of these four outside hitters, it would be her. So you don't want four big stars if you have only two spots on the court. Let's continue. For the middle blockers of Vakifbank, we have the great Zehra Güneş, the Turkish Wall, and Chaka Okbogu. I love watching Chaka play. She's so jumpy. She jumps so high. She has a really beautiful approach, I think, when it comes to spiking. And from last year again, we have Bahar Akbay. She did not play that much last year. I hope to see her more on the court. And we get two more middle blockers. That's a lot of middle blockers. Zeynep Sude Demirel and Carmen Aksoy. We are missing Kübra Akman, which was in Vakifbank for the longest time. Kübra made a move to a club where she probably will have more time on the court. That's great for her. But let's get to the very, very interesting stuff here. Setters and opposites. We keep Cansu, of course, incredibly experienced player, both at the club and at the national level. But we get Sarah Van Allen, Giovanni Guidetti, the coach. I'm thinking this is a player that he's excited to develop over the years. I'm assuming Cansu will still play most often, especially at very high competition level. Cansu has so much experience with that. But they have another very good backup setter. Opposite, also very interesting, because we have Alexia Karutashu. She is only 20, you guys. I just realized that. She was 2 years ago already doing a great job at only 18 years old next to Ilkin Aydin in Galatasaray. Really impressed with her. But we also got Jordan Thompson of the United States, Olympic champion from Tokyo. She played in Italy last year, did great. So I'm assuming she's going to be the main opposite here. And in the libero position, we have Aicha and Eileen. No change there. And I like to give a little percentage. Almost half of the players changed in the Vakifbank team. Now let's go to Eczacibasi, which only changed 1 out of 3 players. They had a great season last year, so I understand why they wouldn't want to change most of the roster, and they already had great players. They have Hande Irina Voronkova, they have Tiana Bošković, 2 times world MVP, Sinedja Kısal, solid middle blocker, Bezaz pretty good, Yasemin Güveli was injured for a while, but she's back, she's doing okay. In the outside hitter position, they also have Yaprak Erkak, usually comes in to serve, she's not really on the court that much, but they're getting 2 great transfers. They're getting Alexia Gray from Canada, really, really solid player, and Martina Szynianska, I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, from Poland. We've watched her this summer play with the Polish team. Really good player as well. I'm even thinking they have too many good outside hitters here. And on the middle blocker position, how not to mention that they got Jovana Stefanovic. I love this player. She's from Serbia as well. She's really also a beautiful middle blocker to watch. I love her form. I love her enthusiasm, her smile. So I really excited to see her in Eczacibasi. For setting, we have our Elif Şahin, which comes off an amazing season with the Turkish national team. But we also get Naz. She was the main setter of the Turkish women national team for a while. Last year she was Turk Hava Yollari, and prior to that in Fenerbahce, but she's staying in the top 4 teams. For the opposite, as I said, Tiana Bošković needs no introduction, but we also get Defne Başyolcu. Excited to see her play. In the libero position we have Simge. I hope she will do great this season. And we again have Tuna Aybüke Özel, like last year. Fenerbahce changed even less players. Again, why would they change? They have so many good players. Arina, Anna Cristina, Meliha. It was interesting to see Cansu Çetin is now listed as an outside hitter. She was listed as a libero last year, but she barely ever played libero. She would come in to serve. So yeah, maybe that switch makes sense. Legendary middle blocker and captain of Fenerbahce and of the Turkish women national team, Eda Erdem. No introduction needed here either. Aslı Kalaç, she did great last year. She deserves to stay in the team. Ergül Avcı Eroğlu, I'm really confused about this player. She's barely ever on the court. I don't understand why she's in this team. You know, a veteran presence is good in a team, so maybe that's her function. But again, it can be the case where this is a player that they know she is solid, but she doesn't have to play. She's okay with being on the bench. So I imagine maybe something like that. The setter, we get Bojana Drča. Really good transfer. She is the setter that brought Serbia to the world title last year. So really excited to see her. Buse Ünal stays as second setter. In the opposite position, very exciting, we get Magdalena Stysiak of Poland. Magdalena Stysiak, she loves Eda Erdem. Probably one of the reasons why she moved to Fenerbahce. She has a really good spirit. I'm happy to see her here. Next to Vargas. Now Vargas has this contract where she spends half of the year in China. Really random, but that's how it is. So I expect the first half of the season will be all about Stysiak. And we still have Meryem Boz. Now she's more of a bench player. And in libero position we have Gizem Örge. She had probably the best summer of her life with the Turkish women national team. She was named best libero of the VNL. Now let's look at where Makris ended up. She did exactly like Naz the prior year. Naz went from Fenerbahce to Turk Hava Yollari, and so did Makris this year. We also get Sıla Çalışkan, which used to be also in the Turkish women national team. Captain Şeyma Ercan, I really love her defense. She's such a solid player. And we got a bunch of other players. Neriman Özsoy, very experienced player who played in Japan for a while. Julia Bergman, Brazilian player, also a German national who chose to play with Brazil. She played in the NCAA in America until last year and is now ready to go pro. And as middle blocker, we find our Kübra Akman. She found a spot in Turk Hava Yollari, and I believe she will be the main middle blocker. We also have Diana Duarte from Brazil, exciting, and Merve Iqbal Albayrak. Now, for the opposite, I wonder what their plan is. I believe Kiera van Rijk is a pure opposite, so she should stay in that position, but I wonder if Anthi could be moved to the outside hitter position, maybe next to Julia Bergman, because they both deserve to be on the court at the same time, because Turk Hava Yollari needs that power. For libero, we keep the same two. Melis Yilmaz had a great season last year, and Buse. But next to Vakifbank, Eczacibasi, Fenerbahce, and Turk Hava Yollari, we could argue that there's two more teams, and those would be Galatasaray and maybe even Besiktas. Galatasaray has been playing at this level for a long time, but Besiktas just came into the first league back after years of being in the second league. Let's start with Galatasaray. They changed so many players, like 76% of players. Of course, they keep İlkin Aydın. She is the star of the show right here. And Logan Eggleston that they got last year. Ayçin Akyol in the middle blocker position and Bihter in the libero position. For the rest, they are getting a bunch of new players, including a Japanese player. That doesn't happen that often. They're getting Daniel Coutinho as an opposite American player. It looks like an okay team. I wonder once again whether they are able to make it to the top 4, since Turk Hava Yollari looks pretty strong this year. Now, for the new kid of the vlog, Besiktas. Of course, it's not a new kid, but they were relegated and they just made a comeback. Now, they made a comeback and they changed every player except for one libero. So But who did they get on board? Well, I think the name that jumps to my eye is Bahar Turksoy. She was in Turk until last year, but she was also part of the Turkish women national team. Jovana Brakocevic-Kantian, which also is quite experienced. They got Katerina Efimova. Again, I doubt that they're gonna be able to compete with the top four, but I think for Besiktas, the goal this year is to stay in the league. For our honorable mention, let's start with Nilufer Belediyesi Spor. Two players I would like to call our attention to: Lila Şengün, young, promising setter, and Lucille Jiquel. She is in the French national team and she played in Italy for a while. She's quite a good opposite. It would be fun to watch her. I wanna also mention Sariyer Belediyesi, the Thai players Asharaporn and Chachuon. They have left the club for some Japanese clubs. Sorry to see them go. And one player that is staying is Kimberly. She was also in the national team of Germany this summer. That being said, we have Tugba back this year. She was also in Japan for a year and she's back. She made a specific choice of joining Kuzeyboru. Not one of the top clubs, but definitely a club where she can be on the court. That's probably her priority after playing in Vakifbank for so long. That's it for this video. Let me know what you thought of it. Let me know if I covered everything you wanted to hear. I will see you in the next one.